Hi, y'all. How are y'all doing? I'm glad to be back with you. It's taken me a minute, hasn't it? Oh, well, that's okay. For those of y'all who prayed for my friend with the loss of her son, actually, it's not a loss. He's, the loss here on earth is heaven's gain. So he's in heaven. He knew Jesus as his Savior, so that's what's important. So I thank you for your prayers for her. And like I said, I'd been under the weather some, and this cold spell that we just started having, it's made me stiff too. I am like, feel like this today. If you're my age or if you've had injuries and you get stiff, you know what it's like. But today I'm going to make this pie. It's the recipe, it was called Crazy Crust apple pie. But I am going to make peach because I didn't have any apple pie filling. I've only had peach, so I am going to use peach pie filling. And this came out of a 1968 cookbook that I was going through, and so that's pretty old, almost 60 years. Yeah, almost 60. I had to stop and think how old I was a minute. Okay, yeah, so it's almost 60. In a couple more years, they'll be 60 years old. Now, this recipe to me, it almost kind of sounds like a cobbler, but the egg is what's throwing me. I've never put egg in a cobbler. So I'm going to make it, and we're going to see how it's going to turn out. Of course, it's peach, so it has to be good. Now, I do have a daughter that would take exception to that. She doesn't like peach, and I love, I love peaches. My husband loved peaches. We would go down to this place kind of south of us in the summer and once we found out that was there, we didn't know it was there, and we'd get these, bushels of peaches, and we'd come home and peel them and put them in the freezer. And of course, it would be after our kids were grown, but hey, it still didn't matter. They were still good. All right, so let's get started. I think you can see, so I am going to leave the camera just where it is. Now tell me, is it cold in your neck of the woods? Because it is supposed to get down to 11 degrees here tonight. And I know some places are going to be even colder. And now it calls to put it in a deep dish pie pan, a 9-inch deep dish. And this was deeper than my other pie pan, so I guess it's deep dish. And I think it's 9 inches. I did measure here across the top, and from inside to inside at the very top it's 9 inches, so I think I'm good to go. And if I'm going to have it sitting on a cookie sheet just in case it should spill over any. So let's get going. And if you want to jot this down, pause it a moment and get you a pencil or a pen. So the first thing we need is a cup of flour. Now I am using self-rising flour, and I did go ahead and sift it just to make it a little fluffier. Now if you only have all-purpose, and this is what the recipe called for, it did call for all-purpose, but I am going to use self-rising. And it said if you use all-purpose to add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder, not soda, baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. So you would just put that in your, all-purpose flour and stir it up real good, or sift it, whichever works better for you. Let me move this out way so I can see where I've written everything down. So they take a small bowl, combine flour, add sugar, and it wants 1 tablespoon of sugar. All right, that's 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then next it said to put in 1 egg. Now it did not say to beat the egg, and I had an egg out there. Where did it go? There it is. Roll back here. So since it didn't say to beat it, because we are going to use a mixer, I'm not going to beat it. Oh, let me get that there in a minute. Next, it says to put in 2/3 a cup of shortening. So that's what I have here. This is a 3/4 cup measure, so I have right at 2/3 in here in this 3/4 cup. And yes, my hands are clean. Always wash them real good before I start cooking, and then several times when I go back and forth. All right, then we are to put in 3/4 cup of water. 3/4 cup of water. So that was 1 cup of self-rising flour, or use all-purpose. Add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 egg, 2/3 cup of shortening. I have butter flavor shortening. That's all I have. And 3/4 cup of water. All right. Then it says after we do that to blend it well. Okay, so let me get a spoon here. I don't know how well we're going to blend the shortening. It's not real cold, but it has warmed up a little bit because I had it just sitting there in that cup for a minute. Let's say I'm going to break that yolk on that egg and stir that around in there. Then after you blend it, you're going to beat it on medium speed for 2 minutes. Beat it on medium speed for 2 minutes. Well, I think I'm just going to beat it. I'm not going to stand here all day. I probably should have used the pastry blender, but it didn't say do that, so I didn't. I'll say it mix that shortening in with that flour first. All right. So I am going to pause you while I beat it for 2. I'll probably go 2.5 minutes. I'll probably go on low until I get it kind of blended, and then I will beat it for 2 minutes. So I'll be back in a moment. Well, wrong button. Right, so I have it all blended up there, mixed up. Like I said, that was 2 minutes on medium with your, hand mixer. This thing right here. I didn't, of course, they didn't have a KitchenAid mixer back then, but that's pretty powerful, so this is good enough. All right, so then it says the next thing you do is, I read all this beforehand, y'all. That's been a little bit since I read it. Then you are to pour it into the dish. Now, it did not say to grease the dish. I imagine with this shortening, there's enough grease that it's going to take care of it. So I am just going to pour this in here. Scrape it out. So it's making a batter like it would with cobbler, isn't it? So I'll get that there. I'm just going to kind of do like that to even it out. All right. Then it says so we'll set this over here. Now, if you're using apple pie filling, you're supposed to combine apple pie filling, a can of it right here, this 21-ounce can. Just a moment, y'all. I need to sneeze. Hold on. Well, I thought maybe it passed away for a minute. So you take and take this, and to this you are supposed to add, it said 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, it did not say fresh or the bottle kind, which is, you know, what, concentrated. But I'm using, since it's a pie filling, they typically already have some kind of citric acid added in there, and I think that would give it too much of a tang. Now, by all means, if you want to put it in there, go ahead. Even when I make fresh apple pies, I don't use any lemon juice or vinegar in mine because they're going to, you know, they'll turn dark when you cook them and you put that brown sugar on them. So that would just be your choice. And you're also, if you're using apple pie filling, you're supposed to mix in a 1/2 teaspoon of apple pie spice. I am using peach. So I am going to actually, and I'm just going to use the same spatula there. I am going to add in a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. I don't think apple pie spice would go real great with this. It might. I don't know. You know, it does. You know, it may have those flavors. But I love nutmeg, so I am going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg to this. Maybe you needed a bigger bowl for that, huh? So, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg is what I'm using. Mix it all together. I think that wooden spoon's going to be too big, so let me get a spoon in here. Try my best to do this without making a mess since it's filled so full. Of course, this nutmeg's going to take away from the pretty yellow of the peaches, isn't it? But it's okay. It's still going to taste good. You could use cinnamon if you want to use cinnamon. And you don't even have to use any spice at all if you don't want to add any spice. And my nutmeg, it is kind of dark too. It must be extra strong nutmeg I had there. All right, then it says to pour these into the center of the batter. Okay. I don't want to pour too hard because I'm afraid it will make a big hole there in the middle and go kerplop to the bottom. It's just pour in the center. I'm still thinking it's going to be kind of like a cobbler, but with an egg. Now, this isn't the proportions I use when I make a batter for cobbler, but very similar. Let me get that spatula again. Well, cooking is all about trial and error, but that, I tell you what, that nutmeg almost has it black. That's how dark and strong my nutmeg is. And it's only maybe a year old at the most. But that's okay. All right. Plus that pie filling looked a little dark too, didn't it? But it's new too because I just bought it this past fall. All right, so now we're going to put it on this cookie sheet. And it said bake it at 425 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. It didn't say what we're looking for. So bake it at 425 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. I'll say until it Looks kind of golden brown. So I will put it in the oven and be back in a moment. See y'all in a little bit. Well, my goodness, I clicked the top one this time. As I was saying, I clicked the top one this time and it didn't do anything, so I clicked it harder. So maybe that's it. I'm not clicking the buttons hard enough. All right. All right, it is finished. I stopped it at 45 minutes and checked it, and it seemed fine, so I went ahead and took it out. And this is how it came out, about the same way it went in, except being finished. The peach filling just stayed right here, and I guess it does look kind of crazy, doesn't it? Can you see that good? So I'm wondering if it's going to taste like a cobbler. So let's see if it does. I am going to scoop me out a little bit of it, or well, I don't know if I should take it out like pie or not, but we'll see. I'll see if it went up under this crust or stayed all right there. Yeah, I guess I should have sprayed it anyway. It looks like it is sticking a little. I was just kind of trying to do what it said, you know. You'd think that much shortening it wouldn't have stuck. Well, it's sure kind of looking a little bit like a cobbler, except with the crust around the edges instead of underneath. Or I mean, not underneath, but coming up and marrying in with it. Guess you're going to have to cool some of that fruit down. Well, let's see if I can get some of it and taste it. For the most part, it tastes almost like a cobbler, but the flour texture and the texture seems a little bit grainier is the only word I know how to use. It doesn't seem quite as smooth as a cobbler would, and that may be, I don't know if it'd be from the egg or what. It's good. It tastes really good. The texture's just a little bit different. So it's kind of, maybe it's kind of like a combination of a cobbler and a pie together. Personally, I would prefer a cobbler myself, or just a pie. But still real good, if it's something you want to try. It's still real good. Very, very similar to a cobbler, though. Very similar. So, yeah. Very similar to a cobbler. But still really good. So you might want to give it a try. You could use any kind of, pie filling that you wanted to. Any kind. I typically, when I make cobblers, I typically don't use a pie filling. I have when I've been in a hurry, but for the most part, I don't. If I made this again, honestly, I think I would mix the pie filling and the batter all together instead of having the crust mainly around the edges and all the fruit sitting in the middle. But it's still good. That's why I did like this and kind of mix my fruit in there. But like I said, it's still good. I'm going to eat me some of it, and I wish I had some vanilla ice cream to go with it, but I don't. I do have some chocolate. But I don't know, peaches and chocolate doesn't sound good to me. My husband used to eat chocolate ice cream with his blackberry cobbler, and I didn't think that sounded good either. I wanted just plain old vanilla. Well, listen, y'all, don't forget about the giveaway. You know, like this video, click that like button, share it. And if you're not subscribed, I would love to have you as a subscriber. And you know what? Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I am giving away a $25 gift card, Amazon or somewhere else of your choice. Right now, we're only 30 away. So remember to always season your cooking with love, and I'll see y'all next time. Right? All right. See y'all later.